Rookie Hunter is proudly brought to you by the Wild Sheep Foundation. If you'd like to support their mission to put and keep wild sheep on the mountain, you can go to wildsheepfoundation.org to become a member, renew your membership, or become a lifetime member. You can even get yourself some badass WSF merch. All of that can be found at wildsheepfoundation.org. And while you're there, check out Sheep Fever, the official podcast of the Wild Sheep Foundation. Rookie Hunter continues to stay connected with Zoleo. If you're in the market for a new satellite communicator, now is the time to get it. You can save $70 on the device for a limited amount of time. All of the information can be found at zoleo.com. That's ZOLEO.com. And of course, we're partnering with our longtime friends at North Arm Knives. They've just opened up a brand new shop and are once again shipping out orders. Get yours today at northarmknives.com. Hey guys, welcome to episode 177. Hey, we've been getting good feedback on these field guide episodes, and I was a little bit worried about doing them at first because I know a lot of you guys have been with us for a long time. You started with us as rookie hunters, and now you've become experienced hunters with us. But I think it's important that we have a platform for new hunters to come to and learn from. So we're trying to share our experience and our knowledge with the next generation of hunters. And we've been getting great feedback, and we're going to keep doing some more of these. And this one is all about safety gear, something that some of us might overlook or not put too much time in because, 99.9% of the trips we go on are uneventful and without issue. So let's get into the episode. Sit back, relax, crack an ice cold beer, and enjoy episode 177. All right, guys, I will do my best to keep this entertaining and concise. I have quite a bit to cover here. I made a list of stuff, and I'll try not to go too far off the rails here. Obviously, safety is very important. We hear stories about other people who get themselves into situations or have conflicts with wildlife and, fall off a cliff or roll an ankle or have a heart attack. Shit happens in the backcountry, and if you're prepared, you could come out of these situations unscathed or alive. Everybody wants to come home. So here's a list of things, and we'll start with sort of like your day pack. All right. So everything, from an afternoon to a full day hunt. These are things I think that you should have in your pack. First aid kit is going to be essential in every backpack, and knowing what's in it and how to use it is obviously essential. So for whatever you have for first aid kit, open it up, look at what's in there, go on YouTube, figure out how to use all this shit, and make sure you are familiar with all of it and that it is stocked with everything you need. Over time, we might pull a few bandages or whatever out of the first aid kit. So do an inventory, make sure it's stocked with everything you need at the beginning of every season, and remind yourself how to use it. I need to do that with my bigger first aid kit. There's all kinds of shit in there. I need to do a refresh on what's in there so that if something happens, it's all familiar. You can just grab it and know what to do with it. I typically throw some extra things in there, and it depends who you are and what you require, but painkillers are obviously a good thing to have. I get horrible allergies in the spring, so I've always got allergy pills in there. Leukotape, you want to take care of blisters and all that kind of stuff. And if you're like Garrett and you're allergic to bee stings and that kind of thing, having an EpiPen is obviously going to be a lifesaver. So make sure all of that stuff is in there and ready to rock and roll. Bear spray is something I'm bad for leaving behind. I don't know why. I'm not trying to be tough or anything, but black bears typically don't bother me. But when I am hiking or hunting with other people, especially my girlfriend, I always bring it. It's often a peace of mind thing. And if I'm going to be in grizzly bear country, I 100% don't leave that behind. But I mean, this past Friday here was a good reminder that I should be going out there with it. Earl and I, my dog, had a run-in with a bear. We were coming back from doing some foraging. I found a few morel mushrooms, which were incredible. And we had about a kilometer and a half left in the trail. We're going down through this little creek bed, and he caught scent of something and took off in a hurry. I've mentioned this a few times. I've got a radio collar for him. It's a Busonic radio collar, and it's got 3 options on it. You can hit the button and his collar will beep. If that doesn't get him, you can go to the vibrate setting. That usually does it for him. But if they're locked into something and it's an emergency situation, there's a shock setting as well. I don't like to use it unless it's like a full-on emergency situation and I need to get him out of the state of mind that he's in if he's chasing something. So luckily, I've been using this collar with him for a number of years now. He's well trained with it. And as soon as he caught that scent and ran, I hit the beep button and then the vibrate button, and he stopped, turned around, came right back to me. So mission accomplished as far as training goes with that collar. I consider that collar a piece of safety gear. It not only keeps him safe, but it'll keep me safe in situations like that. But we went down through the creek bed, up around the corner, and that bear was waiting for us on the trail. He was only about 40 yards away. And most bears that I run into will jump off the trail, and there's no conflict there. I've probably been really lucky, but I've ran into hundreds of bears since I was a kid, and feel like I handled the situation well. And in most cases, just stay relaxed and stand your ground. But this particular bear seemed like he was pretty curious and wasn't ready to just back down easily. So we had a bit of a standoff there for a while. He looked like he was going to come forward. I just kept yelling hate at him, and eventually he did jump off the trail, but he kind of had like a younger, teenager energy to him. He seemed like he was up for a little a little drama, but he did leave. But I was thinking to myself, fuck, this is a situation where I probably should have had bear spray. So lesson learned, bear spray's got to be somewhere handy where you can get to it. Don't zip it up and leave it in your pack. It's got to be on your hip, or you can get holsters and all that kind of stuff. So bear spray, if you're going to be in bear country, is obviously essential. I think a lot of people leave headlamps behind, and that's something I never leave home without. I think I learned this lesson when I was a teenager and we would go mountain biking, especially in those late seasons where, you're going for a late afternoon ride and the days are getting shorter, faster than you realize. And you get into that timber and it's dark, man, like way darker than you would expect. So having a headlamp is an essential piece of equipment for a couple hour hike. I mean, headlamps don't leave my pack, and I've always got 2, and I've always got spare batteries because you never know, you might want to go a little bit further and, enjoy the scenery. And sometimes you just don't realize how far you've gone in and how long it's going to take you to get back out. You don't want to be stumbling around in the dark and rolling your ankle on a root or something like that. So headlamps are 100% something you need to keep in your pack. A knife or a multi-tool. I always have my Leatherman with me for obvious reasons. It's a multi-tool. It's got all kinds of stuff on it. At the very least, you should keep a knife. I don't really need to go into why you need a knife, but everything from first aid to repairing equipment and that kind of stuff. A knife or a multi-tool could save your ass. Fire starters. I've got lighters in every fucking pouch and every single pack. I think there's a couple lighters in every pack. And I always try and go through and make sure I've got fresh lighters every year, or at least that I can tell that they're more or less full. But a lighter is essential. I always have some waterproof matches too, and I like to buy those fire starters. You can get them at any outdoor store. They're kind of like that gel, clearish looking gel. It almost looks like Vaseline. I forget the name of the brand of the fire starters that I have, but I love those things. And again, I keep them in every pack because they can get a fire going in the worst of situations, and they can get them going quick too. I touched on this in a previous episode, but a map, a paper map is not a bad idea if it's a place that you're unfamiliar with. Obviously, we're all going in with our phones and offline maps. Everybody's using Onyx or Gaia or even Google Maps. I know in the first, the early days, we would use Google Maps and save all of our offline maps. That's enough to save your ass, but that paper map is going to come in handy if your device dies. So something to keep in mind. A funny thing that comes up every time I look at like lists for safety gear, and it's a signal mirror. So just a small mirror that you keep in your backpack. I think most of you know what I'm talking about, but you can use it to reflect the sun off of a mirror, and airplanes can see that. People on a opposite mountain can see it. You can see it from miles and miles away, and it's an incredible way to let people know where you are if you're stranded, and especially if people are looking for you. Something I don't have in my pack, but it's something I see all the time, and seen it used in movies. So maybe something I should get. I mean, a little mirror isn't expensive, doesn't require batteries or anything like that. So great thing to have, and a whistle. A lot of backpacks have that built right into the chest strap. The buckle on there often has a whistle on it. Obvious reason to have a whistle. I mean, if you're lost somewhere, especially for people who, go into the backcountry in the wintertime, if you get lost out there, blasting on a whistle is going to be a great way for people to find you. So kind of an obvious one. Emergency blankets. I always have one in my pack, even for day hunts. All of this stuff, basically goes into a little kit. But that emergency blanket, I've never had to open it. The one that I have is for two people. It's just, the classic space blanket, but they have a number of uses. You can build a shelter with them. You can cover up firewood, many, many uses for an emergency blanket, and they don't take up a lot of space. You should probably keep one in your car or in your ATV. Obviously, an essential piece of equipment, something you probably won't have to use, but something you should definitely have in your pack. Maybe not so much, no, actually, we will call this emergency toilet paper. Some point you're going to have to take a shit in the woods, and you don't want to have to sacrifice a sock or cut a chunk out of your t-shirts. So having half a roll of toilet paper is a damn good idea. And a little PSA here, please go far off the trail and either bury your shit or at least put a big rock on it or something. I can't tell you how much shit I found like right next to the trail. People doing that or animals, and it infuriates me. So be a kind backpacker, would you please, and bury your shit. Maybe one of the most important things is having a communication plan. And by that, I mean just letting people know where you're going to be and when you're going to come out. So I always let my girlfriend know where I'm going to be. I go out solo quite a bit, and I always let Kelly know too. So the two of them know. Kelly always knows exactly where I'm going to be. She's a little less familiar with the spots that I go. I tend to go much further when I'm on my own. So I always let her know, hey, I'm going to be on this particular trail. And I always tell Kelly exactly where I'm going to be. Creeks and stuff like that are obviously good things to mention as, say, I'm going to this certain creek or to this certain plateau, or your hunting buddies will know exactly what you're talking about. So it's good that you tell your wife or your girlfriend, and also the guy who's going to know exactly where you're going to be. When it's day hunts or day hikes and I'm bringing new people, I consider them my responsibility. And so I try and go above and beyond to make sure that they have all of the equipment that they need. I don't expect them to go out and buy everything that they need, but making sure they have proper footwear, proper clothing, the right amount of food, all that kind of stuff is super important. And when I've got new people coming with me, I always make sure I've got extra stuff. So I got my big first aid kit. I'll bring some extra snacks. And if I feel like I need to boost morale, I've been known to pack some beers and an ice pack in my backpack too, so we can celebrate, reaching the summit. For people like us who've been doing this for a long time, it's, it's just something we do. But for some people, it's a huge accomplishment, and they might be going through mental struggles. And once they get up there and you pull out some cold beer, well, you're going to be a hero. And you also created a very memorable experience, even though drinking alcohol and hiking is not necessarily a safety tip. But point I'm getting at is make sure you look after new people and make sure they have a great experience, because we love this. And obviously we want to make sure people go out there and enjoy the experience the same way we do. Sometimes it takes a little alcohol. um, Speaking of bringing people with you, my dog is with me on every hunt, and you got to look after your pets, man. I think that's should be a no-brainer, but I don't think people always do. So I mentioned his radio collar. That's something I consider a safety piece of gear. If he's far behind me, or if whatever has some kind of conflict with wildlife, I know that collar is going to work and it's going to get him back to me in a hurry. I also bring cohesive bandages. Actually, my mom gave those to me. She had a bunch for her previous dog because he, from experience, previous dogs they had been cut a number of times, running through the bush. And my childhood dog Jake, he like impaled himself on a stick, and he got a nasty cut out there. So cohesive bandages, they're like the stretchy ones that kind of have like a adhesive on them. Always have a roll of that in the pack for the dog, and extra food. I mean, they get hungry too, and they're burning twice the calories that we are running back and forth and having a good time out there. So that's your day trip, your afternooner, your full day thing. Those are things that should always be in your pack. And this shouldn't be a mess of shit in your pack. This should all be inside of a bag or a Ziploc, something contained so that it's there, it's ready to go, and you can throw it into your pack. You don't want to be rifling through a bunch of shit in the bottom of your pack. If you can pull out a Ziploc freezer bag with all the stuff in there, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier. It's going to be packed every single time you go out, and you can add it to your multi-day trip, which I'll get into now. So for any extended backcountry hunt, I mean, that kit I just mentioned, plus these following things, and some of these should be included in your day hunt kit too. First one being a Zoleo. So I mean, for these multi-day trips, that's a no-brainer. The Zoleo is coming with me. I go into a lot of places around here that I'm out of cell range quite quickly. So even on those day trips, the Zoleo satellite communicator comes with me. There's rattlesnakes, and I've had, all of these experiences with cougars and bears and all that kind of shit. So it's peace of mind if something ever happens. And for my dog's sake too, I always worry about him and rattlesnakes, and I want to be able to talk to somebody and get help and advice if I need it. And that Zoleo is going to be the piece of equipment that gets me the help that I need. I won't go too far into this because we've talked about it lots. Obviously, you want something for water purification. Many different options. Obviously, we've talked about the Katadyn Hiker Pro that I've been using for like a decade now. Garrett and Kelly just bought them. And my brother-in-law, Kevin Snyder, he just picked one up too. So I should be getting a little bit of a kickback from Katadyn for all these sales. But there's lots of other options. There's the UV lights. I think I might invest in one of those. Do your research, find what's going to work for you. But obviously water is super important. It's a no-brainer. Extra food. We always bring an extra day or two of food. When Garrett and I did our fly-in trip, it took us a couple of days to get picked up. It was frustrating, but we had more than enough food, dehydrated food. We've got everything packed for each individual day, and we always have a pack or two for an extra day. And in that case, we had a cooler full of we had like Smokies and buns and all this kind of shit. So we were well set up. It made waiting in the unknown for a couple of days there pretty enjoyable. So you don't want to be running out of food out there. Same thing for your pets if you're bringing them with you. Paracord, duct tape, electrical tape, that kind of stuff. It's a must. You can repair gear. You can, make a tourniquet out of electrical tape. Who knows what you might need it for? Building shelters, fixing a shoelace or a strap on your backpack. Many different uses for those things. And obviously, So definitely have those in your kit. Again, I won't go too far into this, but obviously you need your stove and fuel. Make sure your fuel is full so that you can boil water and cook food. A thing that's nice to have, not necessarily a safety thing, but it could be, is having your Crocs or your camp shoes. You need to let your feet dry out at the end of the day. And if you get injured or something like that, you're going to need to get yourself out of your boots into something comfortable that you can wear around camp. We've talked lots about Crocs, so I won't go too far in that. It's not essential, but something that's good to have. Lightweight tarps, like a sill tarp. Kelly's got a sill tarp. I bring the tent footprint. I mentioned that before. They often go on sale at like Mech and stuff like that. You can buy a tent and then you can buy the separate footprint. And they always go on sale because a lot of people don't buy the footprint for the tent. So I've got a big rectangle one that I like for multiple different things. I like to lay out my gear on it. I like to use it in the vestibule so that we can put all of our packs and boots and everything there to keep everything clean. And if you need to, you can build a shelter with those, with anything from, using some sticks and some paracord, or even making use of your trekking poles if you bring those with you. One more thing here too is a power bank. I mean, that's something that you should probably bring for a one-day afternoon hunt because we rely on these devices now. Everything seems to need a charge. If it's your phone or your satellite communicator or even your headlamp. I know Garrett's headlamp is charged with USB. So it's super important to have that, making sure that stuff is charged up and ready to go so you can get multiple charges out of it. And, if you want to, I've got a couple. They're various sizes, so I can bring a smaller one for those day trips and a big one when I need to charge things, multiple times over a week or more, whatever it might be. Last thing here, and it's all about mindset, not just gear. And again, leaving your route plan and trip plans with family and people in the know, probably the smartest thing you can do. And sort of who, where, and when to expect you, that type of thing. And I also like to remind people that don't have the expectations too high for checking in if you're in the backcountry. We've told the story many times with Kelly's InReach and the situation that got us in when Kelly said that he was 100% going to check in. He just got the InReach. It didn't send the message, the check-in, and it raised a lot of alarm back at home and late night phone calls and stuff like that. Meanwhile, we're out there drinking whiskey and having a great old time, but everybody back at home was very concerned. So remind people that you might not always be able to check in and not to worry, but you'll check in as often as you can. If they don't hear from you for a couple of days, then obviously they should check in and, maybe raise the alarm if that's the case. But electronics malfunction sometime, and we can't rely on them 100%. So keep that in mind. But as long as people know when you're going in, when you're coming out, that should be, enough to alert people if something's wrong. If they haven't heard from you by that exit date, then shit probably went sideways at some point and you might need help. Another obvious thing, but checking the weather, knowing what you're in for, and constantly checking the weather out there. I don't, trust a 5-day forecast. I trust it as far as a day or two out because things can change, especially in the mountains. So checking weather constantly, and that's another place where the Zoleo comes in handy. We can get weather updates anywhere in the world with that thing. So super handy and something to watch constantly. And you got to know what the terrain is that you're getting into. Are you going to be on the coast? Are you going to be here in the Okanagan? Very different situations. You're going to be in the mountains. All very, very different. Weather can range from downpours to extreme cold and unexpected snow to drought conditions and so on and so forth. So understand the terrain that you're going to be in and, look at maps ahead of time and get a sense of what it looks like, but also remind yourself that when you get in there, it's not going to be exactly what you thought it looked like based on the map. It's a good guide, but it's certainly not something that you can fully rely on. And lastly, if wildlife makes you nervous, you haven't spent a lot of time out there and you're worried about bears and cougars and all that kind of shit, do yourself a favor and look up bear safety. Know how to keep a clean camp. Never leave food in your tent. Hang your shit up in the trees, your food, and never cook inside of your shelter. When Garrett and I were up north on our trip, we came across a teepee tent that had been absolutely fucking destroyed by a grizzly bear. And we quickly figured out why they had left a cooler and a bag of dog food in there. And that bear just destroyed that tent. And you don't want to be sleeping in a tent that has anything that smells like food in there. So keep that in mind. Look up your bear safety. Know what to do if you get in those situations, and keep a clean camp. But I think that's it, guys. There's probably things I missed. There's things I omitted because I could just go on and on forever and end up naming every piece of gear, because obviously clothing and rain gear and all that kind of stuff is important too. But that's your safety kit. Small things that you can have ready to go. And like I said, if you can keep most of these things in a bag that you can transfer from pack to pack for, from your day hunt to your multi-day, keeps it all organized, and you won't be scrambling looking for everything. That it's all in there. So I hope that was helpful. And for you experienced guys, hopefully it was a reminder to go through your safety kit. Make sure everything's in there. Make sure you've got extra batteries, everything's charged up. Make sure your first aid kit is restocked with everything you need. So be safe and have fun out there. Cheers. There you go, guys. Episode 177, another Field Guide episode. Reach out, let us know if you want us to tackle a topic for you. And, if you're experienced, share these episodes with the less experienced guys. I think they'll be helpful for them. Give them a little bit more comfort and knowledge before they start going into the backcountry on their own or with inexperienced hunting partners. But probably the best thing you can do if you're an experienced guy is take your buddies out, teach them, show them what they need, and show them how to be safe out there. So we will talk to you guys again soon. Hopefully we'll get Garrett and Kelly on the podcast here soon. But until then, thanks for listening, guys.